So at this time, I'm actually taking my SATs, I'm taking my ACTs, right? I'm actually applying for colleges, and one particular person catches my attention. This guy named Dr. Gene Spafford. He's at Purdue University, and he, more than anybody else, seemed to have a clear vision about that this was an important problem and that we needed to fix it. So in that moment, right, that was sort of like the beginning of a quest for me. I wanted to go, I was like the country boy heading into the city, and I wanted to go work for him. The big city, in this case, in the middle of Indiana and West Lafayette. So shows you how much I knew. Right, I got a job at the Purdue University Computing Center. And I worked in this particular building on the left, which is actually the most dilapidated, ugly building at Purdue University. Is Dave Whitlock here? Yeah, they actually demolished this building a couple years ago, right, because of probably asbestos. Anyway, my office was like 3 stories down, right? They wouldn't even store graduate students here. Right, until one day, Kevin Smallwood, my manager, called me into his office and said, "Gene, have a seat. Something happened over the weekend that has never happened before in the 35-year history of the computing center. Some script touched every file on every system and caused every file to be pushed to backup tapes. And the data center, for the first time in 35 years, ran out of backup tapes. Do you have any idea what could have caused that?" And I said, in all sincerity, I looked him in the eye and I said, "No." One of the stories I really haven't told very often is like all the names of Tripwire that didn't quite make the cut. Do you want to see it? MD5 Gen, file scan, integrity check, my favorite, system preener, right? Syspreen, right? That's my favorite. So, you know, in a slightly different universe, we could all be walking around with name badges that have the word Syspreen on it. We're this close. I remember very well when we first got our first site license from Disney, all these things seemed to validate that the market was ready for us. So we're in the Berg building, we started raising money. One of my big surprises just in these private and angel rounds, just how intimate of a process that was. I remember Julie Constantine coming to visit us and writing a personal check for $100,000, right? These funds weren't wired, right? She actually pulled out her checkbook and wrote a check for $100,000. And I think my memory is right. It's like, you know, on the background was like either teddy bears or balloons or something. I remember holding it and saying, okay, this is how business is done. You have non-commissioned officers in the military who give live ammunition to 18-year-olds. You have chemical engineers who have long, elaborate recipes where if you misorder the instructions, endothermic can become exothermic, and they could lose fingers. In fact, when I was at Purdue, you know, the way you could tell which professors were nuclear engineers is the ones with missing fingers. And then auditors, well, they just love controls, right? So, you know, one of the things that we did after we, you know, wrote the Visual Ops Handbook is we really want to establish, you know, what practices really lead to improved performances. In other words, in the universe of ITIL and the universe of COBIT, right, what few things really matter. Exactly. So where do low performers spend time fixing? They reboot things, right? If something doesn't work, reboot the server. If that doesn't work, reboot the server next to it. If that doesn't work, reboot all the servers. If that doesn't work, blame the firewall guy, right? I mean, they're always causing outages.